record there. Okay, so hopefully by now we're here. If you've don't have it, go ahead and install SketchUp and we'll get it started. Jaden, you have a question. Why don't you write out the question, Jaden? I'll ask you right now, buddy. All right, Jaden, what's your question? I have no idea. So what are you asking me, son? I don't understand. I'm sorry. Well, just click up on the one double click on the one that says SketchUp Make. It should be in your application folder. Yeah, let me show you what that's going to look like. So just hang on, okay? We're going to all do that in 1 second. I'm going to get out of SketchUp. I'm going to quit SketchUp, and I'll bring up what you're going to see. All right, and I'm going to quit here. I'm going to pause this for a second. When you go to start it, you go to install it, remember to drag your file from there right into the folders. You literally physically drag it into this. And then when you go to start it up here, you've got to choose a template. Now, in the beginning, let's just do like we're doing architecture. So we're going to choose a template. There's architectural design in millimeters. It also has, now, which it didn't before, it has 3D printing in inches and millimeters. But we're going to go to architecture just to begin with, and then we'll start playing with the others down the road. Then once you have that, it's not obvious, then hit Start SketchUp. And then it'll pop up. It should look like this. All right? Most everybody else, Philip, everybody else can hear you. Let's see. Can everybody else raise your hand if you can hear me? Okay, so let me go ahead and send that. Let me just get him and say, hey, try to use your telephone. If you can't hear me, use the telephone. All right? Okay, now. All right, John, I'll ask you a question, but I probably can't help you with the installation. Yes, John. Yes, John. John, you said you had a question? Hello, John. Good, I see. Hope yours is loading. That's great. John, what's your question? Yeah, John, what's your question? I can't, well, I would just throw out to you that it may be taking a while to download because we're going on this webinar. All right? What version do you have of Windows? Yeah, it'll install that. Just give it time. All right? Everything may be taking a while because it's downloading and you're listening to a webinar that's taking up some bandwidth too. Okay? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you. Let's go ahead and get started. If you're loading, whatever, we will definitely be recording this. Wait a minute, we got one more. Someone's got a hand up. Let me see if Jason's got a question. Yes, Jason, you have a question? Then, like I said before, Jason, just watch this as best you can. I'll have a recording. It'll be posted. I will be recording it and converting it right after this webinar is over, so it'll be posted tonight. Okay? So just watch it and you can play with it then. You're going to find this really useful for designing things in the future. All right. Anybody else? If you've got a question, like I say, we really probably can't. We don't want to take the whole class, 15 other, say 16 other people waiting while we try to troubleshoot a Windows machine or a Mac machine. That's all I'm trying to say right now. We're going to record it. We'll get you there. And I understand if they've got the webinar. That totally makes sense to me. Okay, if you open up your program, this is what you're going to see. The guy with the green coat, right? So that's when you first load it in there. The next thing I want you to get is, if you would please, make sure that under View, under Tool Palettes, you have the large tool set. That's this thing right here. That's the large tool set. And we want you in Windows, and we want you to run something called Instructor over here to the right. I'll pull that over here so you can see it. All right? If you cannot run it now because you, for whatever reason, it's not loaded on your computer, raise your hand. And raise your hand once you have these two things up. So this way we'll give everybody a chance to pull this up. Pull the large tool set and the instructor. Also raise your hand if you're waiting to install yours, because clearly we can't, you're never going to get yours. So let's, and during this webinar, we will get you set to go. That makes sense. Okay? Okay. All right, let me show you again how to get the big toolbar. Everybody watch. All right, go to View, go to Tool Palettes, select Large Tool Set. That's this tool set here. I said Toolbar, Tool Set. And then to get the other thing, go to Windows, click on Instructor. Now, these are all choices here, but what you're going to find that you're going to want to do is you're going to learn how to do the quick speed key on this. So we'll take our time. Let me give everybody a chance. I only have, all right, I've got 6 of 18 people saying they found the tool set. If you're still downloading the software, or if you got to wait till your parents get home to get the password and install the software, or whatever reason you don't have the software, raise your hand, because you're never going to have it during this webinar. If you have it working, raise your hand. Watch me again if you didn't. It's not a big, no worries. That's why I'm here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit View, Tool Palette, Large Tool Set. Raise your hand once you've gotten those things. If you can't raise your hand for whatever reason, put a question so I know that we've got it. We can't go on if you don't see this. So Om, Ryan, Jaden, you may not. All right. Michael is offline. Jason McNabb, raise your hand. That way we know it. Philip is offline. Hopefully he's getting some audio. Philip, I hope you got more audio. All right, folks. Let me see how we're doing here. Hope's trying to get hers offline. Ethan, how are we doing over there, buddy? Michael's offline. Cooper, how are we doing? All right. All right, now let me show you this. This is we're used to clicking and dragging. You don't do that with this. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to hit the letter. I could click on the little pencil up here. I could click on the pencil there. Or I can hit letter L for line. Go over here. And I outline. Now look at it's green. I don't know if you can see it. But I'm going this way. It's green in that direction. Just like that green line there. If I come down here, I can move it till I make it blue. That's in the same color as this one going up here. And here's red. I'm going back in green again until I connect on that. And I end up with that square right like this. All right? And just so you can kind of see what we can start doing with this, we can play it. We can have all kinds of fun with it. But what I want you to see is this is two-dimensional. Hit the O key for orbit, or it's this key up here. You'll see it up here. It's called orbit. It'll allow me to move around. Okay? Now, I need everybody to watch me now, please. Because this is really what I'm going to show you is kind of weird when you start doing it. All right? You're learning X and Y axes, aren't you right now? Let me ask a couple of you. Ryan, have you learned X and Y axis? Hey, Ryan. Good. All right. We're used to y being up and down and x. Now, if you looked at this to me, I would say, oh, this must be y up and down. This is x, and this is z, one coming out from it. When in reality, this is how it would look to us. If I can get it to turn for me. He's actually, this is the z-axis right here. This is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis. It's as if he's standing on your wall, coming right out of the wall, which is really strange to me. So he is against a wall, if you can think of it that way. Let me see if I can pan this. It might work. You might see it better. He's right against a wall. And he's almost, think of it like he's coming out of the wall. So the green is the y-axis, that's up and down, that's the vertical axis. X is the red axis, and Z, the axis that comes, which you don't really use in math a lot in the beginning, but that Z is the third dimension. Imagine you have a whiteboard at school or a chalkboard. You draw a white line up, that's your vertical axis, that's Y. Horizontal below it, that's the x-axis. Then I say, well, that's 2 dimensions, I want 3. Then I draw a line coming right out of the board. Like I took my ruler and stuck it right in that origin and it was coming out, that would be the z-axis. Any questions on that? Okay. Now, let's practice drawing some lines along this. Everybody watch me. Let me show you once again, and then you do it. I hit L for line. See how that pencil draws out? I draw, say I'm going to draw towards away from his head. It's green. Don't let it go to black. Keep it green. It stays in that plane then. Click once. You click once. You don't, and then you just go. You don't click and hold it down. And then I want to get this in the same direction as the blue. Notice how it looks like it's twisted in? That's actually straight up and down. The problem we're trying to do here is we're trying to draw 3-dimensional things in a 2-dimensional axis. So what looks to us as straight up and down sometimes always is. But I'm drawing off the endpoints. They're green. There's the little blue things. Those are the midpoints. Again, I'm drawing green. I'm parallel that bottom line. See that little inference happens? Little dotted line shows up. Click there. That tells me I'm lined right up. There we go. All right, go ahead and do that. I don't really care what square you draw in there, but just see if you can draw a square. It should go gray like that or white. It should, all right. Also notice up here's the line tool. I can look as I do that. Raise your hand if you don't have the program and the program's not running, or you've drawn a square. So I know when you guys have done it. Okay? Okay, now let's have some fun with this. Take your pointer, hit the space bar, it becomes a pointer. All right, or you can click on a little arrow up there, but you're going to learn after a while speed keying is much faster. Then I'm going to hit P for push or pull. Hit P again. I'm going to pull that out. There it is. And push it that way. How cool is that? There's my square. If I take my little O key for orbit, I can go around it. It's up below, it's around, up and down. Also, by the way, look over to the left hand. You got that looking glass with the zoom window. If you click this, it'll zoom just on those two guys. If you roll your mouse, it'll zoom in. It doesn't always zoom out really well. And if that's the case, just go back to your last view. And that'll give you your last views. So if worst comes to worst, you get confused, this little last view icon is sweet. All right. Put everybody's hands out. Go ahead and do a push and pull on this. All right. All right, sorry I lagged out. No worry, Hope. Just try your best. I'm downloading it now, Jason. All right, guys, just keep on watching, keep on learning. All right. Yeah, Philip. Philip. Hey, Philip. Philip. Philip, you have your hand up. I'm gonna mute you. Let me know what's going on. You may be just raising your hand and tell me, hey, you did this. If that's the case, great. Let me know when you can push it up, pull it down, stretch. We're going to play with this a little bit. And I'll show you some things that'll mess up and don't mess up. Don't worry, you can't do it wrong right now. Which template do I use? Go ahead, use Architecture Millimeter. Okay. Jaden, Philip, you can do that. All right, guys. Let me know. I've only got a couple hands up. I'm trying to figure out why, if there's an issue and if I need to fix it. Raise your hand once you've got it. Excellent. All right, great. We got everybody about set there. Now, here's something. Hit again, Spacebar. I get back my pointer. If I click once, well, I didn't want that. Hit Spacebar. Come on. If I click once, I can either get the surface or this edge. Like there's an edge right there, okay? If I double click, I get this part. If I triple click, I get the whole thing. So watch. I'll show you one more time, then I want you to do it. Once here gives me either this edge or this surface right there. Double click gets the surface and all the edges surrounded with that surface. Triple click gets everything. This is important, and I'll show you why. This will save you much aggravation once you understand how to do this. So everybody practice that. Once, surface, or once on the edge. Double click, surface and edge. Triple click, the whole thing. All right? All right. You've all done that. Now, raise your hand if you did it. I'm going to see if Philip's got a question. Philip, you got a question? All right, great. Good job, buddy. All right, raise your hand once you've done it, folks. Excellent. We got everybody. Now, watch this, everybody. So, if I click one, I've got this surface area, right? And I want to paint this, for example. I'll just show you the simplest thing. If I click that, click on this, I do the little paint job. I think this will just paint that. See how it does that? If I hit my space bar, hit the whole thing, and I select this and paint, there it goes. It painted everything. So it does things like that. Now that, okay, big deal. You painted, Mr. D. We learned that. But here, let's try moving this piece. Say I want to delete it. I better go ahead. I'm going to hit Control. I'm going to undo everything so you can see when I identify it. Whoops. You can hit Edit, Redo, by the way, and it'll... All right, there it is. Now, hit the space bar. Say I want to get rid of this square. I can delete that line sometimes. You get that. It doesn't get rid of the square. Like, wow, what the heck happened? If I want to get rid of the whole square, I triple click on it. Now I hit delete, it goes away. So go ahead and play with that a little bit. And knowing that you can delete a line is actually useful for carving things out. So go ahead, try that for a few moments. All right, now tried that. Let's say we're going to want to move it. We don't want to delete it. So we're going to triple click on it. Well, there's once, twice. I've got 3. If I go up and take the move key, all right, the move is up here. It's this little red square like this. Click on that. Move it along the axis. See how I'm moving along the red axis here? Or I might move it along the green axis, or I might move it around the blue axis. But make sure you go along a color when you're moving it. The whole thing moves. And that's what you want. If, however, I use that move, and again, move keys, not surprisingly, is M. Let me go ahead 1 here. All right, say I grab that end, I hit move on this. Uh-oh, I go to move it, now I've got problems. Now it acts kind of like a push or pull, or it might mess it up on me. So remember, you got to do all 3. And if you just do an edge on a move sometimes, you really can get funky things happening. See how I moved it that way? Now I'm grabbing it by this edge like this. Which you might end up wanting to do, but I'm just trying to get you to see whether you do one side, an edge, or 2 sides. You can do all kinds of things. So see, there you go. Pretty impressive tool. All right, now I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go back to what I just had. So everybody try moving it and just try moving an edge and playing with that. I'll give you 7 o'clock to go ahead and do that. Okay? Raise your hands as you get done it. Keep trying it. And then we're going to actually use rectangles and circles, and I'll show you how we can set so everything's dead on accurate. All right? All right. I said I'd give you another minute, but let's go ahead and pull this. Now, here he is. And if you ever get to the point you say, you know what, I want to start over, just hit new. And there he'll be. And your other picture's saved if you want. So I'm back to him new. Get everybody's attention now. And I have slides showing you how to do everything we're doing now. So I'm just doing it live because I've taught this a bunch of times. All right, so we're going to do a rectangle. Not surprisingly, rectangles are also, you can hit the letter R. Pull it out, and boom, there it is. And obviously hit P for push or pull, and boom, there you go. All right. Now, what you might not know, and I'm going to put it right over here so you can see this edge, right down there says distance. Watch when I do my rectangle this time. Click on rectangle. I click once. Then I start putting in my distances. I don't go down to the distance square. It's really strange at first. After you get using it, you'll say, oh yeah, this is really how they should have done it to begin with. So I'm going to do 2500 by 2500. And I did something wrong there. I'm not sure what I did, but let's try it again. And now once you do it, you're kind of 2500, comma, 2500. There it is. I didn't hit enter. I don't know what I did the first time, but it works now. See down there, it says 2525. Don't do this. This is what I used to try to do. I'd go down there and I'd try to type it in there. It doesn't work that way. You simply start typing it. Once you get used to it, you realize, wow, it's a real time saver not having to do that. So there it is, push or pull. All right? And by the way, you can do things like, there's a square there. I can go on top of this. I'm going to hit R for rectangle. I'm going to lock it in on this face. Notice when I make this a square, if I can get this rectangle right. See that? To me, that looks rectangular. You know what? That's actually a perfect square when it does that. Now, if I hit the space bar and just click on that, and if I click on that, I can hit P for push. And I can push that. So I'm going to bring it right to this edge there. Now I have a little indent in there, which I could have obviously take my paint, go to a dark blue. There it is, right? So that's my paint bucket tool. But see how we can pull that in and out? And if I hit Control Z, whoops, let's go Control Y, go back to what that was. Hang on. Wow, that's kind of neat. I've never used that tool like that before. All right, let's do this. Edit, undo, push or pull, redo, push or pull, redo section, redo, undo section. All right. So let me go again with the push and pull after I make that. I'm going to hit rectangle. I'm going to take this square right like this. Pull it there. There's an offset. There's actually an easier way to do this. But I'll show you for what we're doing. Now I'm going to hit, whoops, right inside there. See how I've got that face? Now I've got that edge. Now I'm going to push. There it is. Okay? So, that's one thing we can do with this. I'm going to hit the orbit key. And so I can pull right around there, and I'm getting depth. All right? Now, instructor down there, we'll go ahead and move this old instructor over that way for us. Circles, let me double click, space, double click, triple click, delete, off it goes. All right, so let's look at a circle. We go over here, back over here. Now, when you do that, if it's a polygon, it's going to ask you multiple sides, but a circle automatically defaults to 24 sides, because really a circle is a 24-sided polygon in the world of SketchUp. So I'm going to click right here, say. Then, when I start to pull out there, I can type in the radius. I'm going to say a radius of 5,000, which is too big. So let's do that again. Go over here. Radius of 2,500. That's still a little too big, but for what we're going to do. So there you get that. Push it, pull. Like right now I'm in that box, which is kind of a cool feature. So what would be cool to see is if I do that little notch, I can group those together, or I can delete it. And I made it like a little tooth thing here. How cool is that? All right. So I cut a hole in that rectangle. I use the rectangle to cut a piece in it. See? There, it's gone. So you can do circles. You can push and pull the circles. You can drop the circles. Let me put this over here. I can put a circle. If I hit spacebar here, I hit C for circle. Not surprisingly, I click on that, pull it out. Spacebar, double click it, then I can do a push or pull. I'll put an opening in there. That's kind of a cool look. There you are. Go ahead and play with that a little bit. We did quite a bit there in that last few minutes. you have any questions. John, I can't get it installed no matter what I do. It's really frustrating. Mr. Dubek, can you turn off Blood on Besiege game? Oh, can you? Oh, that's good to know. I don't know why it's not installing, John. I think wait to get home. I think you're getting frustrated. Maybe get mom or dad to give you a hand with the installation. It should work. It really will. It's a Windows 7 machine. You shouldn't have a problem. I'm sorry. We are recording so you can catch back up. I know it's very frustrating, and I'm sorry right at this moment. I have no idea why it needs Microsoft Net. Make sure you're writing the right SketchUp. You go through the install on that. Because you really do need it. We're going to be doing SketchUp, at least one more time, probably two more times. Then it's on the Tinkercad. Okay, everybody. Now, Philip, do you have a question? Yes, Philip, do you have a question? Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure. Okay. We talked about move. Now, here's another thing you do. I'm going to use a rectangle again. Could have done this with R. I'm going to put it out over here. Now, I will push or pull this. And I'll tell you what, just so we can figure out what's going on here, I'm going to do this by side. That side's green. That side's, ooh, Mr. Dubek. Don't pick colors for me. That's what you're thinking, right? So here's what you can do. You can do something called rotate. And you think, rotate should be R. It's actually Q. So I'm going to put you rotate right in that center face. I'm going to click it. I'm going to click on that end of it. Watch what happens. I can twist the face of this. How cool is that? Now I can also space. Let me escape. If I triple click, now I've got the whole thing triple clicked. If I hit Q for rotate, I pick a point, I'm saying the center of the face, go up to this angle here, and then, so I'm going to move it along that. So now I can twist it right along that axis, which is pretty cool. And when you're trying to do things, that's something you might end up doing. If I hit Shift, I can do it off the point of this corner. Let's go ahead and Shift. I'm on an endpoint. Now I can come off this corner here, and I'm now moving it off that corner. So let's go through this all together again. All right, I've got this whole thing here. I put it on the center of this face. Then I run it up here. So I'm going to rotate it around the face right like this. See? All right. And if I do this, where I only get this face is highlighted, and I do this, Q, go in the center, click it here. Now only the, let me go here. Now when I twist it, I'm only twisting the face like a box. You have an artistic persuasion out there, probably can come up with clever things to do. How do you do undo? Mine says Command C. If you're Mac, PC, Control C. You can also do, I'm going to hit Spacebar here. Edit up here, undo, rotate, and just keep undoing the, whatever you want to undo. Make a really big mess, start over. Save often, save different names. I really would suggest that. Any questions? I'm having trouble rotating. All right, let's do it together. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is get rid of this square because it's, you're because I don't think with the colors, I don't think you can see very well. All right, so I'm going to draw another one. So I'm going to go rectangle. I'm going to wait till I get to a square. See that? But actually, I don't want to. I want it so you can see the difference. So I'm going to make it rectangle that way. I'm going to hit P for push. All right, we're going to twist it right like that. So this will be really obvious when I turn it. If I hit R for rotate, let's go. That won't rotate. It's got to be Q. So don't use Q. Don't use R. I'm going here in the middle, and I could drop lines in here and find the midpoint. You know, one thing you do is with the line here, you go on the edge. See, that's a midpoint. Go all the way down here. See that light blue? That's another midpoint. Then you can go over here until you hit the midpoint. Boom, midpoint. All right? And so what I'm going to do is hit Q right there. All right, so I'm right at the midpoint there. I'm clicking there, and then I'm going to go right over to that endpoint. They're green. Now when I twist it, see? That's just twisting the front face of this. Now, if I do with space, now I got the whole thing. Hit Q again. I'm going to click on the, I'm going to wait till I get to, I'm at the midpoint because that light blue. I'm going to go on that endpoint, click on it. Now I can turn the whole thing over like that. You know. Right? Hope you got that. That you don't, in the beginning you don't think you're going to use it, but when you're trying to connect things, like, so here's another face, I'm going out this end, now I can do this with it. So I've turned this whole thing around. All right, and then, now the next thing you can do is, remember we said take the tip. So if you hit Shift, you can do right off that corner, which just gives it sometimes a really funky kind of, see, now we're shifting out the corner. Not off the face, we're off the corner. So that's good if you want to have something up and down. All right. Any questions about that, folks? All right. Now, let me see what else we've got here. Okay. We did rotate, and you know, we did M for move. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do, let me go ahead and make sure I stay on the notes. I'm going to go back and look at my notes real quick. All right. Cancel. Let me get SketchUp lesson 1. All right, let me pull this over real quick. All right, now we'll just flash through this real quick. Again, remember, blue axis is the Z coordinate, green axis, X, red is the Y. Just make sure you always line them up that color. Press 360 around a fixed point. You're going to orbit. So press O. Press Alt and Shift. You get a pan. Zoom in and out. Let me just show you pan on this again, just so you see it. So say I'm looking around here. Oh, let's get out of that. I got things dropped all over the place here. Hit the space bar. If I hit, let's get rid of this. If I hit orbit, I can look like this, right? But if I hit Shift orbit or H, I get the whole thing to move. And if I want to get everything in there, this hourglass, clicking that on and then selecting everything I want to get will zoom in on just what I'm looking for. And this back will keep going back to where I was. That's kind of like a redo on where you were looking. These are all really useful because there will be times you're going, I want to get there and I can't get there. That will save you much, much, much frustration. All right? Think I said much enough times? All right, now we looked at the rectangle tool. We had circle tool. And then, you know, we did the select once, double click, triple click. We've all done that. We just did moving before. Always move on the axis, always on the red axis, green or blue. Don't be moving. See how this is along the green axis. That'll keep things from floating around. Then we just did the rotation. That was around the point right there, and this whole thing is spinning around. Kind of cool. Notice that if you have a blue line here and a green, if you start pulling that over here, it will infer you wanted that midpoint, and it'll click it for you. It'll go dot, 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 so you can click it. And we just talked about dimensions by size. Make sure you put in, if you do circles and polygons, you can change number of sides. Type that in, then click where you want the circle to be, and then you can change the radius. I'll show you that in just 1 second. All right, so let's just real quick do that. So that's not always an easy thing. So we're going to go here for, let's go up here. This is circle. I'm going to draw a circle. If you look down there, it says my number of sides already. It says, go down there, it says 24. If you look down there. So I could change that right now. I can make it 6 sides right this moment. Now when I pull it out, all right, so now let's say I wanted to make it, it said 714 millimeters, I'm going to make it 1,000. I'm going to hit return. So there it is. And on a circle, it really doesn't change too much. Let me do it with a polygon. Let me go ahead. If I want you to see a 6-sided, let's go to this polygon. I'm going to draw that out. Again, side says 6 right down there below. So we'll make it 6 to begin with. Click on it out. See how you really do see the 6 sides. And then I want to make that one 715 millimeters. There it is. And again, I can push and pull this like anything else. All right. Now let's go to, so we've got that, right? Oh man, what happened to my notes here? Get right set there. Oh, there. Now we can look for arcs, and those are different. Those are kind of cool to put off there. Let me go ahead. Is my guy here? Let's go back to where I was looking. There he is. All right, now say on this I want to put an arc. Let's go. We'll move over here. I'm going to hit Shift and rotate and try to get it over here a little bit. Spacebar. Now go. Come on. Let's hit O for orbit, Tom. And now we hit Shift. All right, so now I'm going to put it there. See how these are all getting off because I turned angles. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a rectangle. All right, and I don't really think I like how I did that rectangle, but we're going to live with it. All right, now, if I go over to this and put it up here, I can click. I'm going to start on the face of this. I'm going to start one end. I'm going to come across. I'm going to go to this end, which is a little bit off. If you just saw that, it's not. See, we're not in the right square. I might just start all the way over on this. But that's a great way. Let's try this again. Come on, come on. All right, there's an endpoint. See, it's fooled. There. Go. Here's an endpoint, and it's still not matching properly. We're not in the right. We're not. This thing's off on a weird diagonal. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, see, it's not really working right. All right, let me do this. File new. When in doubt, don't be afraid to just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to start over. I will retreat. All right, here we go. I'm going to go green. There we go. All right. Go for orbit. Turn around a little bit. Hit P for pause. Pull it up. All right. Now watch this. I'm going to go up to that ellipse tool. Right there. All right. So I'm on the face. I'm on an endpoint. On an endpoint. All right, good. There we go. Now, I can do things like this with this now. I can select it. Let me go ahead and let me. So, like right there, look. So there it is, right there. But let me do another one here. Again, go up to elliptical tool. Let's go ahead here. That's on the edge. I want to be at the medium, and that's on the face. Come on. Midpoint. Go figure that was the midpoint, huh? Midpoint. So there's the midpoint. So you can do something like that. So I'm on the midpoint, right, guys? If I click here and then click again, I can push or pull this part in. See that? There it is. So now I've got this kind of a wild setup. I just cut off the top of that. I'm going to hit the spacebar, get rid of this other line. Okay. All right, I can't find, where do I choose the sides? Ryan, I can't find the side thing. Got it. I don't know what you mean by side thing, Ryan. You got to help me out there. Let me get them. When was it? How many folks can get it to do this? Again, take a square or rectangle, draw it out. You might make it a rectangle, or might make it a square, push or pull it open, go over here. I'll show you another one in a minute, but go on this point, at this on the face. I'm gonna go till I find the midpoint. It'll be like a light blue. That was not the midpoint. Oh shoot. I think I can do it here in a minute. All right, let me try one more time here. Go ahead. I'll wait till I see I'm on the face. About centered on there. I'm going to go out until I find the midpoint. It'll turn blue. There's one midpoint. Bring it around here until I find the blue here. There's the blue there. Oh, I did something strange. I'm going to draw just a regular line here. L for line. You could cut that out. I brushed it. That point should be here. Once you have that, you can do things, shave it off to get to there. Let me show you a couple other quick things before we get going. I want you to see about text. You can put text on here, and here's what's cool about when you put the text on it. So I'm going to write there, and then in that white line I can say, what is your mascot at your school, guys? Ours are the Hawks. What are you guys? Somebody. At Mr. Maurer, Bulldogs. All right, so I'm going to say, go Bulldogs. All right, now watch this. If I walk around this, go Bulldogs is always there for me to see. How cool is that? No matter what, you'll see go Bulldogs. Now, what happens if I want to if I go back down here for 3D text? If I type that, go Bulldogs. All right. And then it's extruded. I can do all kinds of things. Say, okay, place. There's go Bulldogs right there. Now, when you do the 3D, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go ahead and command Z. Let's try again. Go back here. I gotta press enter on this. No, I should not. So now it's there. I should have entered text there, right, guys? You would have it. So you enter your text there, but I want you to see on a 3D that if I go behind it, I won't see it, where I'll see it this way here. Okay. How many do you change the sides of something? Like so if you go to do that, don't use the circle, go to polygon. I'm going to draw a polygon right down there. Now, when I go to draw the polygon, let me move it up to you. See number sides? Right there is where I change the sides of the polygon. So I'm about to draw that polygon in there. I say, all right, I'll make mine more like a circle. I'm going to do 18 sides. I'll press enter on that. And then I'm going to go, and you don't have to even press enter. All you got to do is decide where I'm going to put the radius of this. I'm going to put it right here. Now, so I pull it out, ask for the radius. I'm going to say the radius needs to be 500. There it is. Push or pull a text? I don't know. Great question. I've never done that. Website. Shoot. What you would do on the text, I think it's right here is how you would do it. If I go to print the text, I can say, I want this deep text. And then I'm going to go where it says extruded, I'm going to make it 100 millimeters. And I can change my fonts right down here to all kinds of. All right, so that's going to be deep text, fonts at, I'm going to center it, place. See how that's thicker? And if I hit spacebar, I think I move this thing. There it is. But there's a way to go ahead and move that, and I just did it wrong. Okay. How did you change the number of sides? Ryan, I just showed you, buddy. Right down here. Come here, I'll show you one more time, bud. I go to polygon right here, and I just type it in. Like when I go to click on it, like right now, down on my thing, it shows 18 sides because that's the last I had. If I go down there, let me go up here. Say it's circling around. I don't want to type down there. I just simply type right now 6. I do 6, and then I click on this. It's now got 6 sides. It's just going to ask me the radius, which I'll put in this case 400. I just do that just because to do it. All right. Okay. No, you don't click it. I know. I want to click it too every time, and it doesn't. Okay. Raise your hands if you enjoyed learning a little SketchUp today. Okay, great. Excellent, excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right. It's a powerful thing. And we're going to go on. There's a SketchUp warehouse that has all kinds of buildings. Again, really helpful for that next school project. You want to blow people away. You want to go down to a 3D printer and make something out of Architect. All very good. So if there's any questions, let me know. But I am done for tonight. You have a lab, my understanding, is next week. For those of you who've never done it, you're going to get to do a little bit of electronics and stuff. As we get ready for our project, we'll be doing materials. But you'll also be learning about 3D printers. It's going to be kind of a combination thing. Okay? So I will see you next Monday for a webinar, folks. Have a great night. Okay? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, all.